Welcome to Infinite Business Dynamics.
We're unpacking a truly massive paradigm shift that's happening right now in modern project leadership. Look, if you've been paying attention to the industry lately, you already know we are moving rapidly, and I mean rapidly, away from those rigid, by-the-book methodologies. Today, it's absolutely all about value-driven, adaptable leadership. So let's dive right into this and see exactly how this whole transformation is unfolding. Okay, here's our quick roadmap for today. First up, we'll look at the evolution of modern project work. Second, moving beyond single methodologies. Third, we're going to explore the value iceberg. Fourth, the AI-augmented leader. And finally, we'll wrap up with the future project professional. Let's jump in. Section 1, the evolution of modern project work. So, to really get where we are today, we actually have to start way back in 1986. Believe it or not, early product development concepts were inspired by rugby. Fast forward to 1995, and Scrum officially emerges, which leads directly into the massive Agile revolution of 2001. Over the last decade or so, we've watched the Scrum Guide continually evolve, right? And looking ahead to 2025 and 2026, we are seeing even more expanded guidance. The big takeaway here is that we aren't just talking about software anymore. We've moved from a niche concept about product development to a framework for complex work, and ultimately to this much broader question of what modern project leadership actually means today. That brings us to Section 2, Beyond Single Methodologies. Now, this quote literally represents the ultimate paradigm shift for us as professionals. The question is not, which methodology do I prefer? It is, what approach best fits this context? It's no longer about whether you're team agile or team predictive. The turf wars are over. It is entirely about contextual tailoring. Think of it like a spectrum. On the predictive side, you've got your regulatory milestones, strict contractual obligations, and known infrastructure constraints. Over on the adaptive side, it's all about product discovery, dealing with uncertain requirements, and complex solution design. Well, the real magic happens right in the middle. The hybrid approach is where those fixed constraints meet adaptive delivery. But here's the catch. Hybrid is deliberate tailoring. It is absolutely not just awkwardly mashing two disconnected methodologies together and hoping for the best. And your judgment matters just as much as your process. To put that into perspective, look at the domain weights for the PMP. Yes, process is the largest single piece at 41%. But if you add up people at 33% and the business environment at 26%, that's almost 60% of a project leader's entire focus. This right here proves that human collaboration, empowering your stakeholders, and driving strategic business value are actually the dominant forces in modern work. And hey, let's clear up a huge misconception right now. PMBOK 8 does not equal Scrum. They aren't the same thing at all, but rather they are perfectly complementary perspectives. Scrum gives us this highly adaptive framework driven by empiricism and incremental delivery, which is great for complex product development. PMBOK 8 surrounds that with much broader project management guidance, things like governance, risk, and value, across all approaches. When you apply them correctly, they work beautifully together. Moving on to Section 3, the value iceberg. I love this concept because the value iceberg really challenges us. Above the surface, we have level 1 activity, basically what did we do? And level 2, output, what did we produce? Now, let's be honest, this is where a lot of us love to live, because checking off tasks on a Gantt chart feels incredibly satisfying. But you've got to look below the surface line. Level 3 is outcome, what actually changed because of our work. And the deepest level, level 4, is value, what meaningful benefit was created for the organization. If you were never looking below the surface, you're totally missing the point. Let this sink in for a second, because it's absolutely crucial. Completion is evidence of delivery, not proof of value. Checking boxes or burning down a sprint backlog simply means you finished the work, but it does not automatically mean you created a meaningful benefit for the organization. Recognizing that distinction is pretty much everything in modern leadership. Okay, Section 4, the AI-augmented leader. It's the incredibly provocative question we're hearing constantly across the industry right now, usually accompanied by some real existential dread. Does AI replace the project manager? Are we all just going to be obsolete in a few years? Well, let's look at the analytical reality of today's workplace to find out. Here is the definitive reality, plain and simple. AI augments capability, it does not transfer accountability. Think of it like a funnel. At the top, AI is doing the heavy lifting, handling massive amounts of analysis, planning, forecasting, and documentation. It filters all that raw data into actual recommendations. But humans remain accountable. We act as the ultimate lock on critical decisions. It's our job to evaluate and challenge the AI's recommendations so we can take truly accountable action. To break that down a bit further, let's do a direct comparison. What AI does is essentially crunching the numbers, analysis, risk identification, heavy documentation. But look closely at what humans do: judgment, ethics, governance, critical decisions, and managing stakeholder consequences. Because AI completely lacks human empathy and ethical grounding, your critical judgment as a human project leader is actually more vital and valuable today than it has ever been. No way is AI replacing that. Finally, Section 5, the Future Project Professional. The future professional isn't just a taskmaster anymore. They operate as a supporter who removes systemic barriers and a product developer who is intensely focused on continuing value. This totally forces us to distinguish between the definition of output done, meaning did we build the thing right, and the definition of outcome done, did the thing actually help the business? We use outcome criteria to make that underlying why totally visible. And naturally, we fully embrace AI as a contributor along the way. Which brings us to the 5 interconnected pillars of the modern professional. You really can't just be good at one single thing anymore. Pillar 1 is delivery. Can we execute effectively? 2 is product. Are we actually solving the right problem? 3 is system. Are we optimizing the whole value stream? 4 is business. Are we creating real organizational value? And 5 is people plus AI. Are humans and technology working responsibly together? As you can see, it is a much broader, richer capability than simply running a project schedule. So, to sum up our core takeaways from this explainer, number 1, complexity demands empiricism. We literally have to inspect and adapt as we go. Number 2, product requires discovery. Number 3, delivery must connect directly to actual value, not just output. And number 4, AI relies entirely on human accountability. Modern leadership is your ability to assess, tailor, integrate, and adapt your ways of working based entirely on your specific context and your desired outcomes. I want to leave you with one final provocative question to chew on today. Are you just running projects, checking off boxes, and generating outputs? Or are you adapting to complexity to deliver true strategic value? Think carefully about the context, the people, the evidence, and your response. The future absolutely belongs to those who adapt.
Version 2.
Modern project environments function as complex ecosystems. Managing these initiatives requires structural, architectural thinking to navigate a network of interconnected systems. This evolution is visible through the frameworks used to manage work. We trace the path from 1986 rugby-inspired concepts through Scrum and the Agile revolution to the 2026 enterprise landscape. The Scrum Guide establishes the framework's boundaries. With rules defined, the focus shifts to applying these principles to high-stakes leadership. Success in these environments depends on contextual tailoring. Instead of beginning with a methodological preference, professionals must assess the specific environment and choose the approach that fits the situation. This approach requires a mental model built on 4 distinct layers: methodology, hybrid constraints, value delivery, and AI governance. Rigid adherence to a single framework creates organizational friction. Relevance is maintained through adaptive integration. A common industry narrative positions Agile frameworks and traditional project management as opposing ideologies. This view misinterprets how these tools function together. Scrum serves as a specific adaptive framework designed for complex product development. It relies on empiricism, self-management, and incremental delivery to solve specific problems. The PMBOK Guide and the PMP examination provide a broader governance capability. They test a professional's judgment across predictive, hybrid, and adaptive environments. These are complementary perspectives. An adaptive delivery method operates within a larger project, organizational, or regulatory governance structure. The professional skill is knowing how to embed an iterative delivery loop into a broader ecosystem of risk management, strategy, and compliance. Agile influence extends into leadership, stakeholder engagement, and quality control. These disciplines are applied through different ways of working depending on the immediate environment. The core operational question is, what approach best fits this specific context? This leads to the hybrid reality. hybrid delivery integrates predictive and adaptive elements into a single, unified workflow. Certain project elements require predictive planning and control. Regulatory milestones, contractual obligations, and statutory approvals provide known constraints that demand high predictability. Simultaneously, other elements benefit from iterative discovery. Emerging technology, complex solution design, and customer experience evolve as the team uncovers new information. This model allows a single project to balance these opposing forces based on the level of uncertainty and specific constraints involved. Tailoring involves adjusting the management approach phase by phase. The professional shifts the balance toward rigid control or fluid adaptation based on the immediate risk profile. Hybrid management provides the architectural tailoring required to manage fixed constraints and adaptive delivery within the same initiative. Beyond process integration, modern project management focuses on the transition from tracking activity to validating actual value. Delivery validation happens across 4 distinct stages. At the base, we track activity, the tasks completed during the workday. On the second step, we validate the increment. This is the definition of output done, confirming that a physical product or feature was produced. The third step uses the definition of outcome done to measure changes in behavior or performance. It provides evidence that the product is creating the intended effect for the stakeholder. At the top of the scale, we evaluate the ultimate organizational benefit. We ask what meaningful value was created by the investment. A project team focused on execution asks, did we deliver? The organization asks, did we solve the right problem? Task completion provides evidence of delivery. Organizational value requires proof of an achieved outcome. Artificial intelligence adds a new dimension to project complexity. It provides a vector of capability for high-speed information processing and delivery management. AI acts as a contributor to the project environment. It supports data analysis, generates forecasts, identifies risks, and manages intensive knowledge work. Despite these capabilities, AI cannot absorb professional accountability. The responsibility for the project's direction remains with the human leader. Responsible collaboration uses a specific model. AI performs analysis and provides a recommendation. A human evaluates that output. The resulting decision becomes an accountable action. Ethical judgment, governance application, and the ownership of stakeholder consequences are human requirements that technology does not replicate. Human-AI collaboration combines high-speed analysis with the human judgment required for final, accountable decisions. The architecture of the modern project professional stands on 5 pillars: delivery, product discovery, system optimization, business value, and human-AI collaboration. These pillars enable scenario-based decisions. Practitioners assess context, gather evidence, respect constraints, and formulate responses that maximize value. From the product development ideas of 1986 to the AI enterprises of 2026, the core requirement of the professional has remained the same: the ability to adapt to complexity. Project leadership succeeds through the intelligent integration of frameworks to realize tangible organizational value.